All right, everybody, I'm Logan Alec, I'm a CPA, and this is my stimulus update for Thursday, August 20th. Now, just to catch you up, the big question right now with respect to second stimulus is whether or not House Democrats, led by Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi, would support a skinny stimulus bill or bills, piecemeal legislation, a bill for unemployment, a bill maybe for PPP and stimulus checks from the post office like Mark Meadows was talking about, maybe a bill for state and local funding and liability protection in there, maybe a bill for school funding and COVID-19. The concept of these smaller piecemeal bills that Republicans appear to support, but Nancy Pelosi repeatedly stated in the course of July's and August stimulus negotiations that she is not open to. But Republicans, like I said, appear to be open to these smaller pieces of stimulus legislation. In fact, they are reportedly, as I told you earlier this week, going to be publicizing the text of an even smaller stimulus relief bill than the HEALS Act. Hopefully we'll see the text this week or next. And like I told you yesterday, more and more rank and file Democrats appear to be open to piecemeal stimulus bills. Yesterday, I told you about a letter written by 3 Democratic members of the House of Representatives to Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi and House Majority Leader Steny Hoyer saying, look, it's great we're voting on the post office on Saturday, but we need to do something on unemployment. Let's vote on a standalone piecemeal unemployment bill. I told you yesterday that reportedly some 50 other Democratic members of the House support this letter. Now reports are that over 100 Democratic members of the House support this standalone bill. Pelosi's seat in the House is secure. She won her district in a landslide in 2018, garnering a whopping 86.8% of the votes versus her Republican opponent's 13.2%. And it doesn't appear that the Democratic majority in the House is going to be imperiled by the November election. So her position as Speaker of the House, apart from major House election upsets in November, continues to appear to be secure. But many Democrats in Congress can't say the same, particularly in swing districts or districts in states that Trump carried in 2016. These members are becoming increasingly frustrated with Democratic leadership's hard stance on a stimulus bill. Yesterday, Democratic Representative Cindy Axne of Iowa, a state Trump won in 2016, wrote a letter to Nancy Pelosi communicating her frustration. I'm going to show you this letter in a second, and I think that similar sentiments to Representative Axne's are being felt by other Democrats in the House right now whose seats are not as secure in November's election as Democrat powerhouse Pelosi's is. These people want to be able to tell their constituents leading up to the election, yes, look what we did for you, rather than going back to an angry voter base who can barely afford to put food on the table right now. All right, so let's dig into the text of this letter. But first, if you could give me a big old thumbs up down there, just give me a like button down there, a big old thumbs up below the video, I would really appreciate it. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm. All right. Representative Axne's letter to Pelosi begins, as the House returns to Washington later this week, I urge you to bring up a simplified, straightforward COVID-19 relief package. I know that the House of Representatives has put forth proposal after proposal and that the Senate and Trump administration have failed to adequately counteroffer or even pass legislation of their own, but my constituents and millions of others are relying on us to reach a deal that can deliver much needed aid to those still under threat from COVID-19. That is why I implore you to show that the House is still committed to reaching a deal and to allow us to lead once again by passing a relief bill that will provide economic relief, protections against eviction and financial ruin, and funding for our schools, health centers, and critical industries. In this letter, Representative Axne calls for extended unemployment, a true eviction moratorium, a targeted second round of Paycheck Protection Program loans, or possibly a new loan program, state and local funding, COVID-19 measures, school and child care funding, food stamps, and yes, stimulus checks, which Axne calls direct payments to all Americans. She then criticizes both the House Democrats' HEROES Act and the Senate Republicans' HEALS Act, then concludes her letter stating, this is not a time for political games. We cannot say take it or leave it because we know very well at this point that the Senate has already left it. We should pass a new piece of legislation that reflects our continued commitment to reaching a deal that will help Americans. I will leave a link to this letter in the video description below if you want to read the entire thing for yourself. And I want to know what you think about Representative Axne's views expressed in this letter. Is she being too critical of her own party and the HEROES Act and Pelosi's posturing with respect to the next stimulus bill? Keep in mind that Pelosi did not necessarily say my way or the highway with the HEROES Act. She just wanted Republicans to increase their bid to something like $2 trillion. Or do you find yourself agreeing with Representative Axne in this letter? Do you think this is a common sense position to take? Let's cut the crap and just focus on what the country really needs right now. Let me know in the comments, please, your thoughts on this letter. All right, folks, now let's shift to talking about unemployment. Of course, it being Thursday, the Jobless claims report was released earlier today, and it showed an increase in jobless claims from the preceding report. For the week ending August 15th, 1.1 million new jobless claims were made. This is up from 971,000 for the week ending August 8th, which was the lowest number since the beginnings of the lockdowns. Now, what of Trump's memorandum on unemployment and the rollout of that? As of yesterday, FEMA has approved 11 states for the $300 weekly funding, with it being up to the states to kick in the additional $100 weekly. The 11 approved states for the $300 weekly are Arizona, Colorado, Idaho, Iowa, Louisiana, Maryland, Missouri, Montana, New Mexico, Oklahoma, and Utah. And according to Brett Bazio, Arizona spokesman for the State Department of Economic Security, the state of Arizona is already sending out those additional payments to those eligible, namely those who would be eligible for at least $100 weekly in unemployment compensation, including PUA compensation. South Dakota, as I told you previously, has declined the assistance because the governor feels that the state doesn't need it. New York has also declined the assistance, but for different reasons, with Governor Cuomo stating, "I don't know what the Fed's most recent decision is. I don't know that any of it is legal. I don't believe the whole executive order mechanism is legal, so I think this is all an artificial construction for political reasons. States' abilities to redesign their administrative system to offer the payments is a virtual impossibility in a short period of time." But counterpoint, Arizona did it. I'm just saying, Cuomo. In Mississippi, Governor Tate Reeves has stated that he will be making an announcement today, Thursday, about the status of Trump's memorandum rollout in Mississippi. I'm obviously not daily analyzing each state's position here, going through all 50 states, but these are just the highlights that I have seen recently in the headlines. All right, everybody, that is my stimulus update for the moment. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.